Start with a virus. Import it into America. Talk about it nonstop. Call some governors. Not them. Not them. That's your guys. Put patients into nursing homes. Kill thousands. Blame the president. Keep blaming. Blame some more. Lock down small business. Kill the economy. Push mail-in voting. Stoke a race war. Call for riots. Pick a candidate. No, not her. Yeah, that's more like it. Lock him in his basement. Shield him from the press. Don't cover this. Don't cover this. Don't cover this. Keep doing that. Ignore the economic recovery. Downplay the world peace. Pump the polls. Pump, pump. Don't stop pumping. Install your software in swing states. That was fast. Take control of polling stations. Call off the election when you're losing. Kick everyone out. Pull out all the extra ballots. Get the software to do its thing. Get the media to say it's over. Call the big tech guys. Ban anyone who notices. Act like the whole thing never happened. Stealing the most powerful republic in the world. It's that easy.
All right. What's up, guys? I am ready and focused and ready to dial in. I used to be very outspoken about all of this and got hardcore canceled in the past. And long story short, what I want to do here is systematically, over time, video by video by video, focus on certain topics. This is going to be a short video. I'm just going to kind of give an overview, big picture of what I believe based off years and decades has been going on. I've been listening. This kind of weird because I used to kind of think Alex Jones was a little crazy, is out there. I guess just the times when I'd listened to him in the past, he was just talking about way off the wall stuff. Who knows? He's probably right about that too. Now I listen to him and it's like, holy hell. It's like I'm listening to myself. It's so weird. It's so weird. I can't believe Trump won. Trump is blowing my mind, running around Tasmanian devil style, doing 100 times better than what I could have ever hoped or imagined. He is just doing it. He's getting it done. He's taking on the powers that be. This first video, later on, I'm going to do maybe 3 videos today. Later on, I'm going to talk about how the voting was rigged. I've got a lot on that. I'm going to talk about how the J6 hoax and how outraged, I've always been. I just gave up because I was like, we're just done. This world, we're screwed. Humanity is hopeless. And I can't believe people just woke up. Enough people woke up to see what's actually going on. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk very soon, maybe tomorrow, about COVID and the COVID vaccines. It's like the CIA just came out today. COVID, we made it in a lab. Anthony Fauci lied through his teeth about a zillion things. He made hundreds of millions of dollars. Corrupt, evil motherfuckers. We're going to expose it. And so I would say globalists, Marxist globalists have already taken over the world. Communist manifesto style, Marxist style. You control the universities. You control the schooling. You control the media. Okay. You own the politicians, both sides. You have the Federal Reserve. You create wars. It's divide, conquer, create wars over insignificant things, own both sides, own the politicians, own the wealth. That's how they did it. How do you think churches, they were so excited about Hitler at first, they were putting swastikas on their crosses outside in their churches. They were full support. They were duped. The media has us duped. They're owned by corrupt, evil motherfuckers. And we're going to expose it hardcore in tons of different ways. We're going to talk about the EU and how mind-blowingly effed up it is. So I've been making up for lost time, catching up, because I didn't even pay attention to politics until Trump won again. I stopped, just completely done, never thought about it or talked about it again after the J6 garbage 2020. And just thought, I saw it coming. I was like, obviously Biden's not actually going to run. And then he kept going and going and going all the way up until like 4 months. I was like, I guess it is Biden. I couldn't believe it. But then, of course, we knew what was going on. Kamala came in. It was all just a plan. That whole thing was engineered, boys and girls. We're going to expose so much stuff right now, I think. So I've been watching Alex Jones, mind blown. Now, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust Alex Jones, even though they are just on fire. Unbelievable. Okay, I need to look at the comments here. Let's go, baby. Tune Fed. I love you guys. Okay, so StreamYard drives me crazy. I think you should be able to hear the audio of this. I'm going to be exposing big picture what the globalists, they're just out. They're just out there and open about it. They want to censor your speech. It all starts there. You censor the speech, you control the information, it's game over. You can just sway the population to do whatever the fuck you want. All the power is in control when whoever owns and controls the speech. And if you're able to censor speech and restrict speech, it's game over. That's why that's the First Amendment on the Bill of Rights. All right. Freedom of speech. The most important thing. You are an evil son of a bitch if you are against free speech. Straight up. And now that all this shit's coming out of how absolutely mind-blowingly corrupt the government is, the J6 hoax, all the shit they're doing, okay, it's all the more important now than it's ever been. Like, I just thought we're done. Game over. Game over. World over. The globalist elites look at the number one problem on Earth today is overpopulation. It's a planned strategy to depopulate the Earth. We can talk about this. I'll be talking about specifics and zero in on things. We'll talk about specifically how they want to depopulate the Earth. That's not going to be this video. I'm just hitting some highlights here. And it's just like right there. Bill Gates talks about it. George Soros. Okay. Divide, conquer. So they want to maintain their power and their control. And it's just demonic. It's so hard to believe, but then we just see it happening. What we've seen happen is just chaos reign on the streets, and they're okay with that. They're okay. I'm going to do a deep dive into Antifa, which is dark as hell. Very depressing, very disturbing. And we're going to look into like the Black Lives Matter, what happened there. It was not a good organization. It was corrupt. They stole all the money. They even got like the NFL to paste donation links. It was everywhere. And then they just stole the money, zero accountability, all kinds of corruption. Okay. And these Antifa motherfuckers, they were just letting them create chaos and destruction. And it's like, they can just come into our house and we cannot defend ourselves. If you defend yourself, you're a fucking white racist motherfucker and you just need to give it up. You've had your time, whites, just give it all up. They want to steal and kill and take everything from you. This Marxist globalist shady motherfuckers, that it is absolute Nazism. Fascists try and take away your speech. That's what fascists do. Trump's freeing speech. Trump's giving freedom. Trump has removed racism from our government. That is AKA diversity, equity, and inclusion means the opposite of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It means, like Martin Luther King said, we are judged on the content of our character, not on the color of our skin. They were going backwards. They were trying to destabilize our whole society. They're anti-American to the core. They want American out of the picture. World, global citizen. That's what they want. No American. They could wipe their ass with the Bill of Rights for all they care. And it's low. Our government is loaded with these corrupt motherfuckers. Okay. And all these politicians get wealthy on it. We're going to talk about everything. Baby, Lucky Duck in the house. Yeah. Yeah. Antifa, they're just lying. They're fascist, Nazi, communist motherfuckers. Straight up. Absolutely. And Trump actually did name them as a terrorist organization. They are terrorists. Okay. And then when people stood up and defended themselves, when they would raid through cities and everything, they were the white racist Proud Boys and oath takers. I knew those guys. I could have been caught up in that real easily. So, all right. And I just wasn't there that time. Okay. Yes, Soros is definitely behind Antifa. Okay, right now we have raids going on, and I think Florida, Texas. They're basically saying, "Hell no, we won't go," waving their Mexican flags, huge numbers. Okay, we knew this was coming. Like, this was obviously going to come. I thought there would already be more terrorist attacks happening, more obstruction. But the big concern also is that because Elon Musk is such a game changer creating free speech, it is just absolutely swooped in. And before they even knew what happened, their power is being taken because we got Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Joe Rogan, some of those guys, big players in that. So, and it was an absolute game changer. So many people are having their eyes opened when there's free speech. The government can be exposed for their insane, mind-blowing corruption everywhere. Insane, mind-blowing corruption everywhere. We're going to talk about it step by step. We're going to break it down situation by situation. After this video, I'm going to go live about all the hosts of J6 hoax. It was a hoax. It was staged, right? It was all on purpose. Just like right now, the Mexicans, I guess they're down there saying, hell no, we won't go, waving around the Mexican flags. Not the good legal Mexicans, by the way, of which 40 to 45% voted for Trump because their eyes are getting open. The people that actually worked hard and came here legally don't just want the country to be overrun. Their eyes are getting opened. Okay. And so what? So we're just supposed to, literally, people will just tell you, yeah, we should just give the country back. We just got to give it back. It wasn't our country. So let's just give it back. That's their actual logical reasoning, the insanity of that. Okay. And so they're perfectly okay. They want you dead. They want Trump dead. And then they still think that now there's people that just purposefully, knowingly, psychopathically do this, knowing what they're doing, lying. And then there's people like sheep led to a slaughter, like a moth to a flame, that listens to the fake news media that is absolute garbage. And it's been exposed, but it's like a lot more clearly being exposed. People get their confirmation biases and just hear the same thing because they watch CNN and MSNBC and all the garbage. Okay. And they're literally indoctrinated. Okay. And they think in their mind that they're caring, that they're sympathetic. They don't give a fuck about all the missing children, from human sex trafficking that will blow your fucking mind that's going on. They don't give a fuck about all the black kids that are shot in black neighborhoods. No, they just want to talk about some gangster that gets killed by a police officer and literally wreck the whole country. Right. So you won't see, you see an inconsistency, but they spin it in such a way that they're the empathetic ones, that they're the caring ones. No, they are the psychopathic motherfuckers. Absolutely. Who are just playing you for all you're worth, like a sheep led to the slaughter, like a moth to the flame. Us dumbass Joe Blow citizens watch the news. We hear something. We see a video. Oh my God. Oh my God. Did he really do that? Oh, that's so horrible. And we're that easily engineered to follow information It's unbelievable. All right. So that's what I'm dedicated to. We're going to expose this stuff. And it's so weird. My life is such a whirlwind. I honestly, it's so weird that I'm even still alive. Honestly, it's so weird. And I'm more alone than ever and I'm realizing more and more it's probably good. My days are probably numbered because what I'm going to be revealing in the coming weeks and months, who knows if I'll still be here. We'll just say that. And I don't give a fuck anymore and really haven't for the last 10 years. It's on, baby. It's on. And so I'm going to die a poor man because I don't give a fuck about clicks. No one's going to buy me. I don't give a fuck if 10 people watch me, 100 people watch me, or 1,000,000 people watch me. All right. We're just going to, it's almost like, wow. Maybe there was a reason why I went through what I went through. Long stories. It's going to take weeks and months to really deep dive and properly investigate things. It's tough, and it's tough to then stream on it in a timely manner. Okay. But I'm going to do my best. That's why I'm going to break it down into a lot of different videos. Try not to be too long. I'm sure I'll also have videos where I just go for 6 hours. Okay. Cause I've been making up for lost time, catching up on a lot, on things like the human sex trafficking in Europe. And if you would have looked at my Facebook 10, 12 years ago, you'd have been just like, what the fuck, Grady? Are you crazy? And I did. I got a lot of that. I would post like 100 videos of different instances of illegals, doing crazy shit all the time in Europe and how it's just going to go to hell. Well, now, thanks to Elon, it is beyond what I imagined it could have ever been. Lost and gone. We're like, Europe is destroyed and we don't even know it. It's right underneath our nose. The EU is some absolute corrupt motherfuckers. Mind blown. Canada is way further gone than I realized. All kinds of, obviously, all the Latin America, just absolute reducing down to third world countries all over the place. Mind blown as all this just keeps. I had my head in the sand on purpose because I'd lost my mind. And we all knew with the J6 stuff, we all knew that the election was a hoax. We all knew that COVID was created in the lab and that Fauci talked about it in the 60s, even though YouTube censored it, Facebook censored it, everybody censored it. And then what happens? Mark Zuckerberg just came out and he's just saying, hey, they told us we got commanded from Facebook to censor all this shit out. Commanded from Biden's office. We're forcing him he had to hire 60,000 fact checkers. Unbelievable. And he was forced to censor all that and do all the misinformation, bullshit campaign. And it's all lies. All of it was lies. And it's being exposed. CIA came right out today. Yep. The coronavirus came from a lab in Wuhan. All right. More and more. Yeah, baby. There's my man. I love you guys. Okay. So, yep, all part of the globalist agenda, of course. They either want you dead because the world is way overpopulated in their mind, which is a lie, or they want you sick and addicted to their bullshit vaccines and drugs and pharmaceuticals. They own the medical doctor. They own their minds. They own the universities. I want to start a movement called Defund the Universities. Okay, because it's a lot of it just stems right there. There's a lot of power in the universities. You have, okay. You have liars, you have damn liars, and then you have statistics. That's the quote, right? From, was it, oh, who said that quote? Peterson, maybe. And I'm just going to keep going. Then you have politicians in the news media. And then at the lowest of this hell, you have the universities that create fake, false narratives, such as the United States was born on the backs of slavery. We were a racist country. All that bullshit comes from them. The United States is just built on the backs of slaves. The United States, we just stole this country away like brute force. Like, what country on earth wasn't? Okay, should we go back and look at all the histories of all the countries and just give it to random fucking people? Because 1,000 years ago, some jackass overtook Great Britain, and so we just give it to some other people based off their race? That's literally, and so second of all, that is just false. United States was not built on the back of slaves. United States is a country that freed the slaves, is one of the very first countries in the world that removed slavery, because every country on earth had slaves. This is just an example. So they spin these narratives to create divisiveness, divide and conquer, bullshit stuff. This is the country that brought about civil rights, freedom for all. This is the country that fought and freed for the slaves. We go on and on and on. They don't want to mention, okay, for example, that the majority of the black slaves that came here were brought here by black slave owners, and slavery was a lot more prevalent in Africa. They don't want to talk about how every country, everywhere, douchebags all throughout human history, okay, did douchebag stuff, and all douchebags everywhere had slaves. It's nothing new, okay? From every race, everybody had slaves. United States, they don't want to tell you that several thousand blacks owned slaves. They don't want to tell you that several thousand blacks owned white slaves. They don't want to tell you that over 3 million during the transatlantic slave trade, that there was over 3 million white slaves shipped over here. They don't want to tell you any of that. They create a narrative. You have liars, you have damn liars, and then you have statistics that come from the universities. Okay. All right. Yes. Yep. They program all the psyops. You see it every day. They're doing psyops. Okay. So what's happening right now with the EU? The EU is just saying, we're going to send over 100,000 peacemakers. Okay, we're going to see this here in a second. We're going to send over 100,000 peacemakers to Ukraine, and it'll be good if we win that war, and then we can divide up Russia into lots of different countries. I think that's what we'll do. They're just casually saying shit like that. What do you think that does? Russia's like, you fucking motherfucker, EU motherfuckers. We have nukes. Back the fuck off. But they want to start World War III. Okay, they want to create chaos, and then what are they going to do? Blame it on Trump, because they control the media and the information. And Trump is just beating the living shit out of them, taking them head on, getting rid of the World Health Organization. Huge deal. Telling them how it is at Davos. Big, huge deal. Okay, even if you don't like the guy, all the tons of people that are like, oh my God, can you believe that, like, Trump said that? He's like such a douchebag. Okay, that maybe got their feelings hurt from Trump. And then you just look at what people do, not what people say, like shady ass politicians do. They always say the right things, but do other things. Trump is the other way around, right? Trump tells you like it is kind of a douche, knows the powers that be. He knows how to take them on, and he's blowing my mind. I've always been a little unsure, but then he always exceeds my expectation tenfold. Right now, it's 100-fold. He's had all his shit together. He does the right thing. He's the only politician elected that's worth half of his net worth after, serving his first term. Everyone else, all these other politicians, do shady shit, make shady deals. We're going to talk about California, all the down low, the fires. I have all this ready to go. I have all of it ready to go right now. That's what I've been doing over the past since the day Trump won. All right. And my eyes were opened. I'm just like, what the fuck's been going on? My eyes are being opened everywhere, catching up, making up for lost time. Okay. And it's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. All this stuff going on is blowing my mind. It's just unbelievable. I've been in tears. I can't believe it. I had given up on hope. I was just living, searching for purpose. Okay. And I can only do what I'm convicted to do and believe in. And when I don't believe in something anymore, lose conviction, it's like, no, I can't keep going. It's just like not how I roll. So, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Take a dive into what actually brought the slaves over. Absolutely. What's up, guys? I love you. Let's go. Let's go, baby. All right. This should work. Let me know if you can hear this.
The final goal is to eradicate humanity as we know it. Once you understand the final destination, it becomes much easier to look back and identify the psychological conditioning, the biological tampering, the cultural grooming, and the educational prepping that we have been subjected to for decades in preparation to making us accept a post-human future. It takes a lot of physical and psychological abuse to get an intelligent species like ours to agree to its own extinction. Most, if not all, that has transcended in the last 60 years was designed to get us closer to accepting such a dystopian reality. Whether you care to accept it or not, we live in a hyper-controlled matrix where our perception of reality is meticulously planned, managed, and executed in order to control and steer us in whichever direction they wish. And the direction is a post-human world. For this, they first needed to destabilize, dehumanize, and demoralize humanity through every means possible. The destruction of the nuclear family, children being indoctrinated by the state, abortion, the eradication of God and spirituality from education, life in megacities and away from nature, toxic food, air, and water, social media, replacing real human connection and interaction, engineered financial crisis and taxation, endless wars and massive migration, stress, anxiety, depression, drugs and alcohol, constant fear-mongering, moral relativism as the new religion. And I could go on and on about how humanity has been influenced and forced to move away from all the things that give us strength, security, purpose, and meaning. A weak, immoral, disconnected, ignorant, and unhealthy population is an easy target for the next stage, the creation of an entire generation of androgynous beings. Masculinity is under attack psychologically, culturally, and biologically. Women are being replaced in sports, entertainment, and politics by men pretending to be women, and children are being indoctrinated at school to think that gender is a choice. The transgender movement is not a grassroots movement. It comes from the top. It has nothing to do with people's freedom of expression, sexuality, or civil rights. It's an evil psyop with a clear agenda to get us closer to transhumanism by making us question the most fundamental notion of human identity, our gender. If you don't know who you are, if you already identify as a hybrid between a man and a woman, you will be easily convinced to become a hybrid between human and machine. Gender ideology is the 2 + 2 = 5 from George Orwell's 1984 dystopian novel. It's the final test to see whether we will follow the most absurd party line towards our own extinction. 2 + 2 = 4. And no matter how you choose to dress, call yourself, or change your physique, will not change that. The sad reality, though, is that in the gaslighting process to get us closer to a post-human future, they have mentally and physically harmed an increasing number of children and young people, and it's only getting worse. This must be stopped.
Oh, baby. Freaking killed it. I mean, so that is like the summary. Going to show a couple more videos here. I'm going to end it, and then I'm going to come on and talk about the J6 hoax. We're going to talk about how the election was rigged. And I'm going to be doing a lot of videos about election fraud, a lot. So I want to spend a lot of time today talking about the J6 hoax. Okay. After this video. Yeah. Very powerful now because, okay. Yeah. Share. Okay. I figured out. Yeah. You guys could hear it. That's good. I figured out. Kong actually told me how to roll. We'll just watch the first few minutes here. We've got the insane EU here trying to start World War III right now. We're also going to talk about COVID, of course, and how they're already warning like crazy that another virus is about to break out, right? They just like they did before COVID. They were warning about pandemics and outbreaks. Yeah, that's because they created them and did it themselves. It's all coming out. We're going to talk about all of it. So they're going to do everything they can to obstruct what's going on with Trump. They're freaking as far as even going as far as creating World War III. Here it is.
The Ukraine conflict. The West sees the implementation of such a scenario as an opportunity to restore the Ukrainian armed forces' combat capability and thoroughly prepare Kyiv for a retaliation attempt. In order to accomplish these tasks, the West will be required to actually occupy Ukraine. Obviously, this will be done under the guise of deploying a peacekeeping force in the country.
According to the SVR, NATO is increasingly looking to freeze the conflict to give themselves enough time to rebuild Ukraine's shattered military and prepare it for revenge. Again, according to this document, NATO is already setting up centers where they're planning to process up to 1 million Ukrainian conscripts, and also they have an additional plan. And that plan is to carve up Ukraine into 4 occupation zones, whereby Romania would take up the Black Sea coast, Poland would control western Ukraine, the UK would occupy the north, including Kiev, and the central and eastern parts of the country would be taken up by Germany. And to ensure that plan happens, they are sending 100,000 so-called peacekeepers to get the job done.
Russia's defeat is not a bad thing, because then there could be really a change in the society, and there are many different nations right now part of Russia as well. I think if you would have more like small nations, it's not a bad thing.
I mean, Russia's defeat is not a bad thing, right? Not a bad thing. We can just split Russia up into lots of different countries. Oh, so Russia's been dealing with this. So we're going to have a lot of talks about Russia, because what were we told? What were we psyops to hear is that basically President Putin is the return of fucking Hitler and Stalin out there running Russia, or trying to take the world over. Okay. And that's all we knew. And poor Ukraine getting attacked. That's all we knew, right? That's all until just a month ago. All of a sudden, I'm just like, what the hell is going on? It's like literally an opposite. Not that Russia is great by any means. Okay. But it's like a very opposite narrative now that I'm hearing, and the truth. And I'm going to reveal that maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll get to that tomorrow too. I've got all of it ready to go, baby. We're going to be streaming. The beast is being unleashed, baby. We're going to go nuts with all this. Yep. We're going to be talking a lot about Israel. I still don't fucking get it with Israel. I'm not, but I do know this much. For years and years and decades even, they were fucking shooting missiles into Israel every fucking day. They are attacked with missiles every day for decades, right? So the amount of human sex slavery, the amount of slavery I've seen with my own 2 eyes, a woman getting beheaded, okay, like 1,000 a year in Iran, I think, right? So not good stuff. So I tend to believe Israel, because freedom. If Israel said, hey, we're going to put our arms down, like this is PragerU, talks about this all the time. Let's just, we'll stop fighting, arms down. We'll de-arm ourselves. They would get overrun in a day. Done. Death and genocide galore. That's exactly what would happen. If the other side said, hey, peace, arms down, we just want peace, we'll back off, there would be peace in the Middle East. It's that simple. Oh, good to see you. Wow. Okay. Well, it's definitely not propaganda that Israel has had missiles shot at into it daily. But I will say this. I'm a little less sure what the hell's going on with Israel. Okay. So, because I've heard a lot of both sides. But so I'm wide open, and I like that. I appreciate you disagreeing. So I want people to disagree. Free speech. Even if you have some absolute stupid ass views about stuff, the right will fight for your right to speak it. Trump's not trying to censor speech. Okay. And neither am I. I'll fight for your right to speak, even if you have a bunch of stupid, dumbass things to say. And because I'm going to be catching up on a lot more and more every day, all day. I'm just like manic catching back up. So it's like sometimes 20 hours a day. I'm head deep into all this. And I've been able to kind of manage myself because I'll start to lose my mind sometimes over time. Yeah. Wait until you find out that the prior world war happened for the sake and creation of radical ethno-state of Israel. Hey, tag me on some Twitter posts and stuff. All right. On that. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what to think about Israel. This is where we got to be careful because these psyops come, and if we're getting our information from the same place all the time, and we're not clearly looking into specific situations, you are going to be a part of a psyop. Welcome to the year of 2025, because it's psyop central everywhere. One thing that does scare me a little bit is AI. Hopefully there's lots of different AIs out there. There's not one to rule them all, because whoever it can either take down, be the greatest weapon in humanity, or it can bring freedom and peace to humanity. Like, that's the power that it has, because it could potentially control the information, right? That's where it's scary. Yeah. Okay. Search USS. Yeah. We'll get into the weeds of this. Yeah. We'll be talking. I'm going to keep digging. It's complicated over there for sure. Okay. So next, or there's a couple little.
If the big power is actually much smaller.
What are they going to do to stop Trump before you get a peace deal? Because NATO wants to keep expanding, encircle Russia, break up Russia. That's its goals. Victor Brzezinski, Victoria Nuland, George Soros, British intelligence. That's been the plan. But they have to make it look like it's Russia's fault. So they've been provocating Russia for decades and taking country after country and staging coups and moving weapons up to Russia's border and bombing areas where Russian speakers are 95% of the population, like eastern Ukraine, and then trying to sell everyone on that the globalists are the good guys doing this. Then they have huge provocations once Trump's president-elect, bombing Russia, but Russia doesn't take the bait and over-respond, and it's just waiting for Trump. And Putin said, and Lavrov said, we think Trump's overall good, but we think the deep state's going to kill him if he tries to actually end the war. So we don't expect he'll even make that move, because that's the one thing they won't let him do. But he's delivering on everything, and said that the West started the war with Russia in that press conference a few weeks ago and moved their weapons up. It's all true. But Trump's also said to Russia, you need to come to the table. He's also cut the funding off to Zelensky, so the State Department's bitching about that. He's got pressure on Zelensky. And in comes the Northern Group, which is just a reconfiguration, amalgamation of NATO without the United States in it, so that even the United States, the main funder of NATO, says no under Trump, and they've said this. And the EU is the same group. They've said, we're just going to go ahead and send in peacekeepers. And then we're going to win the war with Russia with peacekeepers. We're going to hit you in the head with a baseball bat, lovingly. And then we're going to break up Russia into pieces.
The government fears Alex Jones.
So it's blowing my mind that Alex Jones now is just in the zone. It absolutely is blowing my mind. That motherfucker's getting sometimes 20, 30, 40, 50 million views a day. It's just like, holy shit. I've been asleep on Alex Jones my whole life. It's just, what the hell is going on? Okay. So couple more I want to show you about the globalist, elitist motherfuckers. Okay. All right.
In the US, there's something we're not being told about the upcoming election. It's a funeral of shareholder capitalism, and it's a birth of stakeholder capitalism.
Led by this man, the Democratic Party are discreetly and undemocratically transitioning us away from free market capitalism to another political system called stakeholder capitalism. This short story begins with Klaus Schwab, the executive chairman of the World Economic Forum.
We are working closely together with governments from around the world, including all G20 countries.
His exclusive elite members, called stakeholders, include the heads of all G20 countries, from the US and UK to communist countries like China.
It is my distinct honor and great privilege to introduce His Excellency Xi Jinping. We should join hands and rise to the challenge.
Over the past 50 years, Schwab has been educating aspiring politicians.
Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin, and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And placing them into positions of power.
What we are very proud of as a young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, is that we penetrate the cabinets.
After penetrating our cabinets, Schwab and his stakeholders have enacted a 10-year transition to a political system that Schwab designed.
I pioneered the stakeholder concept.
Called stakeholder capitalism.
Stakeholder capitalism is finally becoming mainstream.
This single global authoritarian system provides the stakeholders unprecedented control over all people and the planet.
The Chinese model is certainly a very attractive model for quite a number of countries.
Promoted on the cover of Klaus Schwab's book, stakeholder capitalism's slogan is propagated by the heads of all G20 countries and other powerful stakeholders.
People and planet, people and planet.
Back in the US, stakeholder Kamala Harris has put stakeholder capitalism's diversity, equity, and inclusion policies at the heart of her presidential campaign.
To put equity firmly at the center of our economic policy.
These inclusive ideas were weaponized by Mao for shifting China to communism. As a World Economic Forum stakeholder, Kamala has a
stakeholder responsibility in accelerating the transition
to stakeholder capitalism by enacting Klaus Schwab's Marxist policies.
This is the best time for leaders to work jointly for the world to become more inclusive.
Reform is not possible. Reform is not possible.
If you've wondered what's causing these strange events, it's because we're witnessing a cultural revolution, a social movement manufactured by tyrants.
To create a stronger inclusiveness.
To drive a shift from the bottom up to a more inclusive political system.
You have been promoting the stakeholder concept.
They have to trust that the era will be inclusive for them.
Other US World Economic Forum stakeholders include Al Gore, Anthony Fauci, and Bill Gates, as well as the heads of large media companies such as CNBC.
It's a race against time to keep stakeholder capitalism on track in 2023.
They've been indoctrinating us to believe narratives about them acquiring totalitarian authority are dangerous right-wing conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories are coming fast and furious. Can you explain how the Great Reset conspiracy started?
I see the need for a great reset.
This is a time for a great reset.
Reset the ways in which we live.
As well as manipulating us with propaganda, the stakeholders have been cancelling and censoring anyone who shares the truth.
We have all been subjected to the most powerful, coordinated, globally harmonized, military-grade propaganda campaign in the history of the Western world.
ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, and CNN, the mainstream media has joined this systemic attack on democracy.
To discover how stakeholder capitalism works, Schwab's full plan for transitioning us, and what we can do about it, watch my feature documentary series, Stakeholder Capitalism, for free at yellow.forum.
Okay. We got a couple more. So I could show 50. Seriously. So we're going to deeper dive into all of these different things one by one. We're going to break it down left, right, and center. We're going to debate. We're going to hash it out. You know, I want to debate, if I'm missing something, Let's talk about it. Let's look at it. Okay. So, Kong, I've got to present each one individually to do this. Okay. Let's go.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of the serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. They would find that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flame. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography.
We're talking about 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds and 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds. He's got over 600 images, gobs of video footage of these children that you say this does not signal a heinous or egregious child pornography offense. And then you went on to say the defendant was merely trying to satisfy his curiosity. That's somehow a reason to only give him 3 months. Help me understand this.
Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. I would caution against extremes.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing. Paul Harvey. Good day.
Okay. And then one more. So we see what's going on here, boys and girls. They have hijacked our society. Right now, you have bands of people, like thousands of people in Texas and in different areas, rioting against deporting illegal criminals, even criminals. Okay. It's illegal to go. Find out what happens if you just go into Mexico illegally. Find out what happens if you go to Colombia illegally. They're going to get your ass out. Bye-bye. And then they have the audacity to come and say, hell no, we won't go. And people have had enough of it. And then the left has the audacity to say how cruel Trump is and how cruel the right is to do that without any concerns about all the human sex trafficking happening. There's more and more coming out. It is just unloading. We're going to be talking about all of this, how the government is behind a lot of the human trafficking. The government is. Okay. Yeah, Paul Harvey, man, that was like way before its time right there. Okay. One more, Alex Jones.
Earth is being put into a countdown collapse right now. Globalists have gone from testing phase into full operational now. And they say, read their writings, we are going to have a post-industrial world by 2030. We will have no personal cars by 2030. We will be eating bugs by 2030. And we will start the depopulation of 90% of the people by 2045. That is the official WWF, official UN, official Club of Rome plan. Earth is being put into a countdown collapse right now. Globalists have gone from testing phase into full.
And it's just so wild that all this stuff is true. Like, Seriously, what in the hell? Yeah. Enter the Vatican City illegally, see what happens. And then the Pope has the audacity to tell Trump that we shouldn't be deporting all these people. I think it's at least 50 million people here illegally, and it might be as much as 80 to 90 to even 100 million people here illegally. It's insane. The Vatican has a big, nice, awesome wall. All right. And he then has the audacity, in spite all the facts, all the numbers, it literally wrecks our country. We have people that are working with the fucking mafias and the cartels, helping trafficking people in our government, and then sending hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars to all this garbage, bringing people here illegally, spending our own tax dollars, to fund this. And then we see it. We see places getting overrun. We see all kinds of problems. Of course, there's good people there. It's not that we're not compassionate. America is the most compassionate country on earth, who takes in the most immigration on earth. And it's not fair for people who want to come here legally and do it the right way. That should be without question, without saying. But the lefty fucking anti-American lunatics go as far as to say, just fuck it. You should just give up your home and just give it to them. This isn't your land. We don't deserve this land. Just give it all up. That's literally how far they'll take it. And they're perfectly okay with that happening. I can unequivocally fucking tell you right now, they are perfectly happy with motherfuckers taking over my home, fucking killing me. They wouldn't give a fuck. Okay. And then just literally stealing my home. They're perfectly okay with that. Make no bones about it. That is not empathetic. That is psycho fucking pathic. All right. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Anybody that's just coming in, start it over, 2x speed. I'm coming up here in about an hour. I'm going to prep. I'm going to hit on the voting fraud. I'm just going to touch on the voting fraud. Then I'm going to stop that video and I'm going to do a video on the J6 hoax. And that'll be the longest video of the day. All right. So maybe in about an hour or less, I'll be going live again. I love you guys. We're going to be breaking this down step by step. And I definitely certainly don't have all the answers. I don't know exactly what's going on, but some claim they might, some claim they do for sure. But I do know what I know, and I'm going to expose it, such as a lot of this garbage going on. I've seen the depths of hell the left will go to kill you and cancel you. I've seen it firsthand. We're going to expose it. We are going to expose it. We're going to spend a lot of time also talking about the media, the universities, but the media, their lies and their tactics. Do not be unaware of their schemes, boys and girls. Love you guys. Crypto Grady out. We'll be talking some crypto too. Baby.